website, or maybe you want your website rebuilt, or maybe you need a host for your website. Well, they can do it all at webtsy.co. That is WEBTSY.co. Again, webtsy.co. Hello, everybody. Welcome to a new episode. We are live again with Mr. Laurent Cortines. We didn't do a show. Sir. We didn't do a show last time, so we got to make up for it. We have a lot of news to talk about. A lot of stuff to talk about, man. Again, this show is brought to you by TopFCNews.com as well, where you can find all your latest trending news in the football world. And
Top FC News, the best.
TopFCNews.com, and we have a lot of news. We're gonna stop putting live shows, videos, all kinds of stuff. We're doing our thing. We're doing our thing. So, all right. Well, first of all, we had an interesting weekend.
We had a lot going on.
We had a lot going on, and we can start. Sure. We can start with Arsenal being the best team in the world at this point.
Yes, of course, the best team in the world. No, absolutely. But that's exactly what Arsenal are.
But seriously, I mean, oh God, are the Gooners celebrating way too much this Community Shield?
Yes, they are. They are, and I don't blame them. So I listen. I have a lot of for the team. They do what they do. They have a history of this. Like, the team is very young still. They still haven't really won anything as a group. Right. I think they won that FA Cup in like the first. And if you remember last season, they had a game where they came back against Aston Villa and they celebrated too much. You know, I think it was just over the top. They had come back and they acted like they had won the league, and they're taking this as a moment, right? They got beat pretty badly by City, especially that second game in the Etihad where City just pantsed them. They really just annihilated them as though they were like a different country or a different team. Yeah. Haaland and De Bruyne blew them out. They won 4-1. That was really the end of that was really the end of the league. But in this case, I thought, you know, Arsenal sat in deep. I think the first half you would say was pretty cagey, but City bossed it, really. First half, had most of the possession, but it wasn't really doing anything. Really side, a lot of no balls into Haaland. And I mean none. There was nothing. Nothing got to Haaland. And City didn't even try and get the ball to Haaland. It seemed we were more, City was, I was saying we, look at me. We were more content with having the ball. More content with having the ball and not really doing anything than scoring. But even with all that possession, Kai Havertz had the best chance. He shanked it. Very typical. Kai Havertz. Martinelli.
Come on, you gotta give him. I mean, you know, he almost had. It was a tough play.
Oh, go ahead. Yeah, but I mean, he should have finished that, and that was a very typical Havertz miss. Right now, he did do good stuff. He was dropping deep. He was winning second balls, so he did good stuff. But the first half was cagey. And I think like City didn't really have much to say, oh, we should be winning this game, just possession. Second half, one of City's young boys, Cole Palmer, very, very, very good player. If you don't know him, people who are outside of City, you won't know him, but he's a very, very good player. Tall, good on the ball, got a really good shot, more like a kind of not Foden. Foden is more high energy. You can see that twitch muscle. He's more languid, more smooth. And he scored a goal after he came on with the setup from Foden. So Foden on the turn, running through, heads it on to Palmer, who heads it. And City looked like they're cruising. They're up a goal, you know, pretty good in defense, still put the 4 across the back. And Arsenal didn't really do much until the 111th minute, which we can talk about. Trossard hits it. It's going to go 4 feet wide. It hits Akanji's hip and skips past Ortega. And there's the goal. It pulls the game level. City don't recover and then have a really poor penalty shootout with De Bruyne missing and Rodri missing and Arsenal not missing any of theirs. So Odegaard, Trossard, Saka, Vieira, boom, 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 boom. City lifted. Arsenal get to lift the trophy. Good for them. How did I experience this game as a fan?
It was a crappy game.
But
I mean,
yeah, it wasn't like, a good game.
You know, you got to be honest. You want your team to win. It doesn't. I'm not going to buy this. The Manchester City fans were just like, now that they lose, you know, they lost, or like,
no. But I mean, in the greater scheme of a season,
well, obviously,
it's not a big deal.
No, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And I do. I mean, I could agree with the fact that Arsenal fans are celebrating a little too much. I mean, you know, it is a title that goes in the books. I mean, but
sure,
but obviously they needed to beat City. You know what I mean? And they had to happen. You couldn't lose again, because everything would have been about, okay, you got all these players, you know, it looks good, but you lost against these guys again. And so and last year it was a little bit of, you know, yeah, you didn't actually, you know, lose the season against them, you know, literally, but obviously they took it. So, you know, but and I think it was necessary. And I mean, Arsenal did what they did, but you know, you can also say luck was on their side. You know, obviously, I mean that goal by.
Listen, you create your own luck. You know what I mean? Like, they got the shot off, right? So that's enough, because they didn't get out to Trossard, and you know, as much as you know, City, I get very frustrated with the narratives of City are a walk, City are automatic, City are easy, City have money, yes. But it's Pep that makes it look so easy. That's the thing. Like, City fans inside, as we watch City, you guys watch, you know, one big game a year. You don't, you know, but when you watch City as a City fan, it's a process that has to be gone through. And City, it's not always easy. And the way Arsenal, you know, played, you know, you can have bad luck, and you can see someone not closing down. You can see the ball's not going into Haaland. You can see things that happened last season. You can see Haaland not even making runs. He was kind of lazy, honestly. He didn't even make it. It's not even like City players were trying to get him the ball. He didn't even make the runs, because he's not, even though he's big, he's not good in the air, and there weren't really any chances. And De Bruyne coming on was good. He wasn't in the starting lineup. Nothing from Grealish. Zero, zilch. I hope his hangover that his 2 weeks of drinking.
Well, hey, I'm telling you, that's the problem right there. That's going to be, you know, nobody, media is not talking about it yet, but they have their eye on it. Trust me.
If they play slow, yeah. Listen, I don't think anyone will think City are going to lose. City will remain favorites, no matter who's in first, until February. If they still have a hangover, let's say as a team, as a group, as an energy, if they're low energy and they have a hangover and they're due for one, listen, this is, you know, it's not easy to win a treble and then just be like, you know what, we're going to go win the league again. That's hard. Even I don't care that much. I'm like, whatever. I'm just going to be like,
but the thing is, you know, and
I'm a fan.
It almost like in this situation, you almost, you know, should you celebrate as much, or shouldn't you? Shouldn't you care about as much?
It's your one
because
life.
I mean, if it was Middlesbrough beating Manchester City, it would have been a party from here to the end of the season, from the Red fans. So you know, so you have to celebrate, and the City would have celebrated as well. But you can tell. I will be honest, and it almost feels like I'm not agreeing with myself, but I think Arsenal needed to celebrate. They needed this win. But I will also see that City was running. It almost felt like trotting times, you know.
Yes.
But that's going to be the problem.
Did not have not the like we have to win intensity.
And it's going to be right now. I guess it's cool, but if they don't get over this, it's also, you know, you got to say that Pep didn't do his job. If it happens,
okay, okay.
Well, I'm just saying.
Listen, if somebody has a 15-point lead in January, then I'll be worried. Until then, I'm not going to worry.
Well, and I'm not. I didn't say you need to worry, but I mean, there's something you need to keep an eye on, because you can't be the best ever. And Pep said it. For you to be the best ever, you have to win the Champions League, right? Well, that's one of the things.
Okay, they won 3 in a row, and they won the Champions League. They're already there. They're already in the conversation as best Premier League team ever.
Okay, but
yes, they are.
I mean, okay, I guess okay, but
they're not the most loved. But they're not the most famous.
But Porto won one as well. So
objectively,
Porto won one as well.
Yeah, but they didn't. They're not. But they're.
So what I mean is, like,
it elevated Mourinho and made him the most famous manager in the world.
To be that team to where eventually you can be you can be like a Manchester United who sucks for 100 years and sells and live off of that of being Manchester United. If you want to be that, I do believe you can't just say, okay, we won the last year and then we're good. We just retire.
You got to win again.
You got to keep going. Yeah, no, but
what I think the thing that, and this is what Pep says, and it's really true, and I think it's true of almost any club. You have to be there at the end, year upon year after year after year. And what you have to do is, by being there, you give yourself the opportunity to create moments, because football is about moments. And that Champions League, it was not a good final. It was shitty. But there was one moment, and people will talk. They'll be like, "Oh, the Rodri goal." Right now, that's just for City fans. That's fine. This Community Shield doesn't have a great goal in it, so it'll be forgotten. It'll be a statistical line that says Arsenal beat City on penalties 4-1, but not a forgettable game. What you want to do is continue to play good football so that you can create moments, and it's moments that stick a club together. Like for me, as my team, as I've been following the moments that I think about, there's really right now in this 7-year Pep run, there's only a few. There's John Stones off the line against Liverpool. There's Vinny Company against Leicester, 1-0 to win the game. There's Aguero, the final goal.
Right.
And then there's a couple of other goals here and there, mostly negative ones. The offsides against fucking Spurs by Raheem Sterling, which it makes my arms hair stand up. I can't with it anymore because it was a VAR call, and that's why I hate VAR forever. And then there was a handball goal that in that same game that Llorente put the ball in off his hand, which they literally changed the rules right after that play. So those are the three that I remember the most. And then, of course, the Real Madrid game where they just completely bossed them. And then Aston Villa, Gundogan 3-2 coming back was also very good. But those are really, but those are my own, right? Like someone else will have more, and you have to keep creating them and keep creating them, which is why you hear United fans talk about 99 over and over and over again.
And that's kind of
got the run from Giggs.
And it has to be the goal. I don't care. You're like, I don't care. We won. And it has to be the goal for fans they're supposed to be fans. They're not supposed to be changing teams. So, if you're a City fan, then I feel like fans want to say at one point, City is the greatest club of all time. You know what I mean? Because of this or this and that. Well, we'll see if
don't have enough fans. We don't have, I can be honest. City don't have enough fans yet.
No, don't see. That's what
we don't have enough fans yet. There's not enough.
You filled up Asia. Man, anywhere you go, you fill the stadium up.
Sorry. Let me make it clear. I made a mistake. That's true. From the Eurocentric perspective, when you take all of UEFA history and English football, City are not there yet. It takes a long time. Well, it's going to take 20 years of being there.
You're right, but it has to happen. It has to start happening at some point. I would.
It's happening. This is the story.
It is happening. All right. Well, let's move on to good for Arsenal fans, man. We're talking about, good for Arsenal. Good for the Gooners. Hey, that stadium was popping with Arsenal fans. Now, it was popping. Now, let's talk about what Mo Salah or Salah, however you want to say.
Yes. Mo Salah.
There's a shocking development that he is going to Al-Ittifaq with. Is that the same club that Henderson went to? There's a bunch of Al's, so. But now that would hurt. Now I have to. Well, I know that Gerrard has to do what he has to do if it's this team, but. Man, that would be hard, even though he's an older, and I do see it happening, which was crazy. You probably don't, but
I do not.
I mean, I don't see why. I mean, he's won it all with Liverpool. I don't think he's expecting anything else from this team at this point. And they're offering, I think, 80 million a year. I mean. This is
it's a lot of money.
It's crazy, but now my question is like, dang, they're really dismantling clubs at this point. You know what I mean?
They're trying, but I think with Salah, he has already poo-pooed this. So it's out there, and he said saying all the right things. He just signed that 3-year contract just recently to make him the highest paid Liverpool player. So he's probably on 400,000 a week pounds. Right. And I think, to him, it matters. He loves Liverpool. He's already there. Listen, there's always going to be this battle, and it's how you really find out about players, right?
Right.
Were you bullshitting, or was it always really about the money, right? With Ronaldo, we did find out that part of his competitiveness it's really all about the money, because otherwise he would have stayed at Juve, he would have stayed at United, blah, blah. He wants to play, and he wants to be about the money, okay? He wants to have the spotlight. If you want to be the best in the world and remembered as the best, you must play for a big club in the biggest tournament. Money doesn't matter. You can get paid $100 million a season. If you're not in one of the brand name clubs, whoever was going to be in the Super League, to be fair, the Super League clubs actually now mean something, and you're not in the Champions League, or at least in the Premier League, which is essentially the Super League of it, then you're not really part of the story. You're over here. You're about yourself. And that's fine. As a football player, you have one chance. You have this one chance that, and you know this probably much better than I do, because I'm not an athlete and I didn't play enough football to know this. It's really freaking hard to play and be the level that the players are.
Right.
I urge everyone, try and take a ball, put it at your feet, run with that ball for 150 yards, and then try and shoot it in a box. Good luck. It's hard. And then have someone try and take it off you while you're doing it. It's really hard. Or catch that ball out of the air when it's kicked to you from 50 yards and try and have it not bounce 35 feet away. What these players make look easy is actually impossible for human beings. They're incredible. So they have a right to get that money because they're the best of the best, right? Mo Salah is in the 1% of the 1% of players ever to put on a shirt, right? And so if he should get paid $100 million, it's just that Liverpool can't give it to him. He's worth it. But if you want to be in the conversation of the greatest of the greats, and you want to be in the pantheon, and you want that statue outside Anfield, along with King Kenny Dalglish and Bob Paisley and all the rest of the legends of Liverpool, you cannot take that money and go to over there. It will never matter.
And if there's somebody that would draw attention to the Middle East, will be Mo Salah. It'll happen. So now, what's going on with the rule change, man? Are we adding time? Are we taking up time? Because I'm like, what the heck is going on at this point? What's happening? Varane is upset because they're sort of exploiting players, and
this is
what's happening.
It's terrible. So there is a desire. There has been a couple of conversations around football, and I think that we should probably just get into the conspiracy theories because this is real, right? I believe that either Florentino Perez, Agnelli, or the guys that are head of UEFA, they figured out, someone did the math on this, and that a 60-minute game is how long football matches would be if you had stoppages, right? So like the NFL, the ball goes out of play, you stop the clock, right? That's 60 minutes, right? One of the fights is that games, especially like your games that really try and slow it down, the game will be in play, the ball will be in play like 54 minutes.
Right.
50 minutes. That's when you know it's a bad game. So what the powers that be are trying to do is saying, all your bullshitting and cheating, we're not doing that anymore. We're now going to go down and add every second of every stoppage back to the game, right? So ball goes out of play. You go on the ground. You stop to drink water. You stop and talk to a coach. You're bothering not blowing the whistle. Every second is being counted so that at the end of the game, you get a full account of 90 minutes of play or whatever it is.
But
60, whatever the number is.
That could be really well misused. Be misused.
It could be.
And
it could be.
What happened to just, okay, well, I throw this out there. Why can't we just make it like basketball? Stop the clock. I feel like that could be so easy.
I'll tell you the reason why. Because what's the first thing that'll happen?
What do you mean?
They will put ads in the middle of the games.
Oh,
right?
so okay, so
you have a 2-minute timeout. At the 25-minute mark, they will stop the game and they will play ads. If you don't think that these teams would love to have a Heineken Champions League ad for a Wednesday game in the middle of a Sunday game, you are out of your mind. And the thing that makes me love football will be gone, which is that it just goes.
You know, it's crazy. I will say this. I just found this out. And before certain matches, before they start the match, the referee will start putting this thing here, actually making it seem like it's not working. And it's actually so they can throw an ad. And I just found that out, and I'm like, everybody who's supplying these microphones? None of them work. And it's actually not, I did find that out by a broadcaster that was fired by ESPN, and now he's talking. And so, it is crazy. Yeah, you're right in that sense.
We do not want the stoppage.
But that would be
perfectly flowing game. It would destroy football.
Well, it would be too long.
As you know it.
It would start getting hated as much as baseball because it takes too long. And baseball has natural.
The perfect example of it.
Baseball has natural
baseball
pauses.
Has that naturally. It's basketball that is the closest in terms of flow, I think, to football. And when it flows, it's really good, and it can get that breathless feeling, right? Of up and down, a shot made, a shot missed. What makes football have that euphoria is the fact that it doesn't stop. And you can stop breathing, and you do hold your breath, and the cross comes in and it's headed away. Oh, but the defender's on it, and he fires and he shoots, right? I can make myself get goosebumps just by describing that, right? If you put ads in, you lose that because it just loses the flow. It is the most momentum game. You'll lose the fans. You'll lose all of it. And that's what I fear is this time stoppage thing, is to make it so annoying that you have this 90 plus 11 that the next stop will be, well, can we just put a clock in? And then someone is going to be rubbing their hands going, oh, yeah, let's put a clock in. Do not put a clock into football. I will stop watching. I'll be done. I don't know where.
It almost feels like there's no.
Start watching cricket.
It almost feels like there's no no win-win situation. So do you think it should just be the way it is?
I've become, as I get older. As I get older, I'm becoming a bit more traditional. Like, I still die in the hill. I don't want VAR.
Well, yeah, like VAR actually.
VAR. I want
VAR did that to a lot of people. Just keep it the way it is.
I don't like it. I don't like VAR. I don't even want. I like the ref to be the ref because ultimately, what is sport? Why does it need to be perfect? All we want is it's entertainment. And we just want heroes and legends and moments and stories and bad calls and good calls. Why does it need to be precise? All we want is that it's relatively accurate, right? Like, why is offside need to be by a millimeter? Why do we need to know? Like, it doesn't matter ultimately because it's the most important thing in the world. Like, wins and losses you're not gonna live or die. So just let's play the games. Let the ref make the call. Play on. Let's go. So that's how I think about it. And the more we try and add bureaucratic layers, the more complex it will get. The more it will lose its great things about football, which is, I think someone did this, and I don't remember what it was. My numbers are going to be off, but it's something like the laws of football are something like 10 pages long. And to give you a juxtaposition, the rules of baseball are something like 150, and the rules of the NFL are something like 200. So just in the sense of like the laws of football, literally, they fit in a little booklet, and you can read it and you know the game. It's very simple. But the more we add more, the more we do, the more it becomes more complex, more just ugh, and I don't want that.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we'll see what happens when it comes to that. But again, RAPHAEL Varane, Pep Guardiola already talking about it and not agreeing with it.
Oh, it's going to be
a lot of players.
They're going to talk about it. Anytime a late goal happens, it's now going to be anything after 95 minutes. It's going to be 98 minutes. We're going to set the record for latest goals scored in a game. It's going to happen like every other week. Yeah. It's just going to be a thing. We just be ready for it because it's going to happen.
All right. Well, according to reports, Real Madrid will send a £180 million bid for Mbappé if he publicly says he wants to leave. Another.
What is this? What is this bullshit? Is this like your mom and dad fighting, like a divorce? What's happening?
Another episode of this. We should make a podcast just about Mbappe in his situation, because
listen,
you know, another. I don't know what's happening. Obviously, you know, he seems that it looks like PSG is not getting to him. I'm sure he wants to play, so I don't think that's necessarily true. I don't think he likes being put in the second team or third team, fourth team, actually. And of course, PSG is also frustrated because they want something. And Real Madrid, 180 million pound. I could believe that
they don't have the money.
You know, but you know, I could believe that they could make it happen. But just to make Mbappe say it publicly, what's the point? You know what I mean? It almost seems like somebody just wrote this up.
Because you have to remember though, right? Real Madrid, Barcelona, Athletic Club, Bayern Munich, and a couple of other clubs. Yeah. You get to be the president. There are socios. There are people that buy in. It's like a gigantic YMCA, except the YMCA has 50,000 members, and they're basically the who's who of the city. And so Real Madrid has to do things politically. They have to make it look right, right? So Florentino or whoever is leaking it has to say, if Mbappe says publicly, then I can convince the socios to pony up the money. You mean?
Right.
So that it doesn't look like it's money. It's from the heart. So it's not, it loses business sense, and it adds this romantic thing. So the things with Real Madrid always have to be a bit more romantic. It has to be, oh, I'm doing this because of this, or I'm running for the president and I will bring Figo. If you saw the really good documentary, The Figo Affair on Netflix, it's all about Florentino Perez and Figo, and you know, the most famous transfer between Barca and Real Madrid. So you know, that's why they do it that way, because it's all like a show. It's all schmata. It's all bullshit. Yeah. They have to make it up.
And on another developing news and other reports, and we're happy about the reports, of course. Well, they keep us talking about it, but a lot of these are just bullcrap. But apparently Tottenham has the latest response for Bayern Munich's last bid is rejection. Rejected. Well, let's do this and see if it works.
Top Football Club breaking news.
So rejected once again. At this point, I don't know if Tottenham is trying to sell him, or maybe what I do believe is that it could be that Kane is saying, "Hey, just reject everything, and you know, I'm gonna stay here, and we'll just sign 2 more years." And because I don't get it,
Chris, I'm gonna look in the camera and fucking go insane. Dear Daniel Levy, you have an asset that has 1 year left on its deal that will leave after the contract. Someone is about to give you $110 million. If you don't take it, you are a moron. What is wrong with you? The window is going to close. You're going to ruin your team for an extra $10 million. Let him go. It's over.
Okay. That was your moment, but it is ridiculous. I mean, I don't know what else
ridiculous.
I don't know what else they want, to be honest with you. I really don't get it. You know, they have all the, well, they can't pay. I mean, I don't know how much else. How much more is Harry Kane worth? You know what I mean? To be honest, he's where he's going to be.
That's a very, very good offer for a 30-year-old striker
who clearly wants to leave
with 1 year left on his deal.
Yeah, but again,
I still
think might be Kane telling them that
Harry
Kane
just
keeping the circus up.
He needs to blow a gasket. That's the only way he'll move. Like, really put Daniel Levy and Spurs on blast.
Now, what do you think about
and burn bridges?
But what do you think about Ange Postecoglou's
Postecoglou
basically slamming Bayern Munich over he's saying
he's getting salty. He's getting salty.
And you know, he looks like the guy who'll break your kneecaps. You know,
he'll definitely break your kneecaps.
So you think this frustration goes really towards, it's like an internal, he's not going to go against Spurs publicly, but do you think that he's kind of, you know, feeling like, okay, Spurs, get this crap done.
No, I think he's taking it as an opportunity, as any good manager would, to show leadership, to show he's in control, to show his players that he has their back, to show his chairman, don't mess with me. You know, these are all signals that he's putting out to the club because they're asking him the questions. And the way English football is, the manager is the only person who speaks, right? In other countries, specifically Italy, which I know is really the one, the director of football, the chairman, they all have to talk. And in England, it's just the manager, and he speaks twice a week, twice per game, once before and once after for 10 minutes. And you can watch them all. By the way, respect. I love this YouTube channel, Beanie Man. That guy's great. One day we'll be as good as he is. But he has the footage of every single manager interview of a big club.
Oh, wow.
And so I don't read the news because it's all just regurgitation of these 2 20-minute talks. I just go straight to the source. And so Postecoglou is really just being like, yo, I think it's messed up to talk about another team's player, right? Because in England, we don't do that, right? That's a very British thing to say, is like, when you're in your interview, you are Manchester United, and an interviewer says, hey, what do you think of Harry Kane? If you're Ten Hag, you go, I talk about Manchester United players. I don't speculate about other teams' players. That's just like a soft, unwritten rule, even though they're all doing it behind his back. Right. So what Postecoglou came out and said is like, yo, why is Bayern Munich talking about my players? I don't want to hear. That's fucked up. And so he's just defending his club and defending his team. I like Postecoglou. I think he's going to have a hard time unless Spurs get 2 more defenders. And one is on the way. I think the guy's name is literally like Ven or something.
Yeah,
something
Ven. Yeah, we talked about it in the yeah, I messed up. I had to edit that one. You know, in the last rumor report. But anyways, going to another player that's interesting. Went to the Premier League, didn't work out with Chelsea. JOAO FELIX is at Atletico Madrid, and apparently they have turned down their first official offer for him. He doesn't want to stay. He actually said it. I want to go to Barcelona, but it is Al-Hilal, so of course it was probably him saying no. But I mean, with with Mbappé, we're seeing it, so
you know that the economic factors within European football are broken. These players that at one point, especially before the pandemic, that were bought, anyone basically over 60 million pounds or 60 million euros, 100 million euros, like he set the record for Atletico, and they'll never break that record. Like 10 million euros.
Yeah. There's
no team that they can sell him to that's not either PSG or a team in the Premier League. There's no other place he can go. He can't go anywhere in La Liga. He can't go to France unless it's PSG. He's not going to ever go to Bayern because it's too expensive. Italy, no. Those countries are literally not spending. We're seeing a real push of all the money into the Premier League with targeted specific buys by Real and Madrid. Essentially, the entire Premier League has the spending budget of Real and Barca, and then Real and Barca are like a Premier League team.
Yeah.
And so there's no market for him. And so they have this thing in their head. We paid $110 million for him. He's a good player. We expect at least 80 million. No one is paying that. I was going to say in my head when you were talking, I was like, is there any player more overrated than JOAO FELIX? Like, what has he done? Does he have a 10-goal season?
Yeah, not
Does
much.
he have a 10-assist season? I don't think he does.
Not much, really.
He's not worth it.
Yeah, he hasn't been that.
Then,
he was one of those players that to look forward to, but he hasn't really done much, really.
Yeah, these players that we talk about, like, I think about, he feels that he's entering the Pogba zone where it's just like the name,
but he's
is
so
bigger
young
than
though.
The action. Like, I know
he's so young.
I mean, he may have his moment, sure, but
yeah.
Here's the thing. That's his own freaking fault. Do not go and play for Simeone if you think that you're some creative player. You'll never.
It's not going to happen there.
Find it. Look, I pulled up his number. 19 years old, 6-1. 20 years old, 7-5. 21 years old, 8-4. Last year, he scored 8 and 3. He's never had a 10-goal season outside of at 18 goals at Benfica. So it's just it's shocking. See it. There's moments, but is he really just a Ricky Puig? Right? Is he really just one of these guys? Is he Bojan Kristic? I know Bojan Kristic. Remember, he was with Barca in the early days. That dude ended up at Stoke City. Like, is Felix role going to now be to just be like a mid-table kind of? Is he going to end up at Villarreal? Is he going to end up at Aston Villa? Is he going to end up at a cut-rate team at some? Because at some point, it's not cute anymore. 23, you got to start making hay. And look, it says here from Capology, he's on 280,000 euros a week. There's only like 10 teams that can pay that, if that.
Well, we'll see what happens with JOAO. By the way, you can read these articles on the website topfcnews.com. You can also watch us right there. You see myself and Laurent arguing about the PSG Ultras sending chilling warnings to Dusan Vlahovic.
Oh God!
So that
again.
Well, no, that was at that time. That was at that time.
Okay.
But anyways, yeah.
Speaking of which, they're still trying to get that transfer going, right? They tried to get Lukaku for him in a swap, but that's not really working.
All right, news roundup report real quick so we can get into some heavier news. And Juventus plots to snatch SOFYAN Amrabat from Manchester United. He's still staying at Fiorentina as of right now, and don't know why United hasn't gotten the deal done yet. He's been rumored to join them for a month now, and Juventus trying to chime in. It doesn't seem like he's really crazy about leaving Fiorentina. He said, if I had to stay out, I mean, that's fine. So
Fiorentina is good. That's a good team. It's enjoyable. They finished, top half of the league. He's 25. He's got a decent career. He's really a defensive player. He hasn't really done much on the creative side of the ball, but I do remember Morocco team just so good, so important in an engine room. He's in that destroyer role, right? He's more of a you need this guy cover for a guy like Casemiro if he went to United. I mean, maybe there's more to his game, but Fiorentina are a pretty offensive-minded team, and he really didn't do any creative work, but he could be winning the ball doing that kind of stuff.
Now,
I liked him. He's good.
Napoli's Irving Lozano is closing to an LAFC move. Apparently, he's going to come back to North America. So was he kind of like a Joao Felix? Was he supposed to do more, from the perspective side of things, or is this what his ceiling was?
I think Irving needs to take it easy. We live in the United States. We know how Mexican national team players get treated in this country. Yeah. They are legends, right? Listen, when he was scoring 17 goals for PSV and Eindhoven that won the title, those 2 seasons, moved to Napoli, I think that was probably a curve to get up to those numbers. But it's a step up in Italy from the Dutch league, and he really hasn't kicked on. He's been okay, more of a sub, only 17 starts, never reached 2,000 minutes playing for Napoli. He did win the title. He's part of that team, but he never really kicked on, and now he's near 27. It's probably not going to happen for him. Osimhen and Kvaratskhelia are there now, really running the offense.
Could he go per se to
more of a super step?
Could he go to a middle table Premier League club?
Sure, but which one? Burnley? Where's he going to go? 27 years old. Those teams don't want players that of that age profile. Maybe when he went to Napoli was his time, but now at 24, but now at 27. Those teams want young teams at a younger profile. They want 24, 25, 27, maybe Villa if they had a spot for him, but they already have better players than that. His numbers are good. He wasn't bad. He's in the same sort of realm as like a Said Benrahma, Adeyemi, although Adeyemi's younger, Nico Williams from Athletic Cup. These are the sort of people in and around his level. He's good. If he goes to LAFC, okay, like he'll annihilate them.
I know he'll be okay, but I think he could try to stay in Europe. I mean, I think there are clubs that would that he could play for.
Why does he have to leave Napoli?
Well, it seems like he's only been wanted by the MLS as of right now. So what we can hear. Surely there's a team out there that would want him. But anyways,
yeah. Well, I think like with the Messi thing happening in Miami, LAFC is getting really pushed down.
Yeah.
And so in terms of headlines within the MLS, like Messi has taken over the entire soccer community in the United States. I haven't heard a thing about LAFC since they won the title.
Or they actually
they don't,
or the Galaxy. You know,
no, that's the other one. Well, they're a mess. That team's falling apart. So,
all right. Anyways, let's get into the. I really wanted to do this. The predictions. For the top leagues. We have to be quick. We have to be.
Oh boy,
we're probably going to take more time on the Premier League, but Bundesliga is going to be.
Well, the
easy.
Premier League is the one I know the best, so I'll just wing it.
Well, the Bundesliga is going to be easy. We can start with that one, and it's I think Bayern Munich is going to.
I mean, it's got to be Bayern. That league is broken. Bayern had their worst season in 15 years, and they still won. They had a 71-point season in a 34-game season. That's really, really, really bad. And Bayern and Borussia Dortmund still blew it. So. There's no way they're going to go for title number 12. They've got Tuchel all season. If they get Kane, it's a total lock. I don't see anything else but a Bayern win because there's no one even trying to win that league aside from Bayern Munich.
All right, so we can go to League On, and that's another easy one.
Well, I don't know. I don't know about that. That league is funky and that team is broken. If you're telling me that Luis Enrique is going to turn PSG around, PSG has destroyed many a manager, especially Neymar, especially the Suzu that's Mbappé, and they're going to lose Mbappé. Lens only finished a point behind them, and as far as I know, have not been rated. So there's no reason that Lens can't pip them, or Marseille, who was also right behind them. So I'm going to go with someone else. I'm going to say Lens are going to win Ligue 1. How about that?
Okay, I'm writing this stuff down now.
Oh, please do. I really want to eat it.
And you said Lens is going to win.
Lens, Lens.
Yeah. Hey man.
I'm a madman.
So Lens, Laurent, I say PSG. We both agree on Bayern, and so La Liga. Now we got to go to that one. That could be a little tougher league. But which one do you think is going to get it?
I think the defensive solidity that Barcelona had last year is not going to be there. I think that Benzema being there is going to change the personality of Real Madrid, and I think Real Madrid will win that league because we're going to find out and see how good Jude Bellingham is and what a leader he is. He is going to drive that team. He's going to learn Spanish. He's got a maturity level that Modric will feel okay not to play. What you've seen recently is if Modric and Kroos don't play, Real Madrid can't win. And I think we're going to start to see that passing of the torch. Bellingham will be that player, and he'll find a partner in Camavinga, and they'll be able to run that team, and Vinny will score the goals up front. And I think Real Madrid will find a way to win the league.
Yeah, I think Real Madrid is also going to come up with this one. Now, Serie A, what happens in El Calcio?
Serie A, that's going to be AC Milan, who've had an amazing transfer window, just picking players under 30 minutes, one after the other. Really, Pulisic is the big one, but just tons and tons of nice little players that you kind of forget that are like fringe players on some of the big teams. They'll be free to play. They'll be open to play. And I'm going to go with AC Milan over Napoli. Napoli's also going to have a giant hangover after winning the Scudetto after 25 years or 30 years. So I'm going with Napoli. I'm going with AC Milan.
Okay, wait. So you say AC Milan.
AC. Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm gonna have to agree with you. I do. I want to say Inter Milan, but I think they're losing too many. I don't know what's going to happen with Lukaku. They lost their goalkeeper, who was really important.
Yes,
but I mean, it's hard to say. It's a team that got to the final. So, but I mean, AC Milan got to the semifinal, so I'll give it to them too. All right, so we'll go to Premier League, man. We're probably going to spend a little more time here, but we still got other predictions like relegation. So let's move on.
As if you don't know and you have not listened on El Squeaky Bum Time podcast, the Squeaky Bum Time podcast that I run solo.
Hey, by the way,
usually on a Sunday into Monday.
You can listen to it on the website topfcnews.com, or you can go to Spotify.
Right, the feed's there,
and it's about the Premier League, and this guy's gonna crack you up, so you can go over there and listen to this crazy dude.
I did predict that Arsenal would win the league, with City finishing second, Liverpool in third, and drum roll please, Brighton and Hove Albion will finish in fourth place behind De Zerbi, with the rest of the teams falling in behind. I had Tottenham Hotspurs in ninth because I think they're really bad.
Actually,
by the way, when you start doing this exercise and you put just one team out of the normal places, like you put Brighton in the top four, everything breaks for all the other teams. You're like, what? You telling me that Manchester United are going to finish seventh? I'm like, yeah, I think so.
It was surprising to see that United was third last season. So, I mean,
they were not good. They're gonna finish. They'll be.
Hey man,
they're gonna
you still got. But yeah, City had over. How many times they beat them by? Like that's over 10, 14 points. But they were third. You gotta man. Premier League is hard, man. It's hard. So
the Premier League is hard, and then a place is just a place, right? Like you could finish in eighth, but only be 4 points behind fourth. You know what I mean? Like just to say someone's gonna finish. I think it's more about expectations, right? Chelsea get a free hit this year. They finished 12th last year. Anything they do that shows positive football and finishing in seventh, they'll feel great about their season. They'll have ups and downs. For Spurs, I think we know they're in decline. They know that they're going to lose Harry Kane. As long as they don't get relegated, they're going to be like, okay, fine. I think the thing with Spurs is whether Postecoglou can get the team playing on the front foot and feel like something good is happening after, 3 years of just turgid darkness football, like from Mourinho to Nuno to Conte. It was just dark. Spurs were winning fourth, and it was both, even though they got there. Liverpool, we know, no defensive cover. I think for them, they need to be in the top four. If they pushed for the title, that would mean that something happened. That would mean that their defense is incredible and that they've scored 120 goals. Because really, their front five is as good as any team in Europe, and it's not even close. Salah, Nunez, Diaz, Jota, forget it. But you tell me who's the holding midfielder on that team, and they're going to get opened up because they can't protect the back four.
I think I'll put Arsenal as well, winning the Champions League. My wild prediction is going to be that Newcastle is going to make the Champions League again.
The top four?
Yep. And
okay, so do you have Arsenal winning the league or City winning the league?
No, Arsenal.
You think Arsenal will win the league like I do?
Yeah. Don't act like you're making it sound like I'm crazy when you said the same thing.
No. So I don't think you're crazy.
That's the thing. You can't say they're going to do it and you don't believe in them. What's the point of that? You're just saying that because they got all these transfers. Then you're bandwagon.
No. It's not because of the transfers. It's more that City can't sustain.
Well, that could be a reason.
Level of effort. That's really the reason. And if City can't sustain, some team behind them has to beat them. And I don't think Liverpool's there. I don't think Newcastle's there. I know United's not there. The only team by default that can win this league, if you believe that City are going to fall back, is Arsenal, because they're the only ones who have their shit together.
Yeah, no, I think Arsenal is going to get it this time because of those reasons, but I'm actually confident that Arsenal will do what it takes, not just because City is going to fall back, but that's whatever. And my crazy prediction is going to be Newcastle makes the Champions League. You got a crazy prediction I need to write down?
Aside from Brighton being in the top four.
Okay, that's the one. That's the crazy one. So Laurent says Brighton.
Yeah, for the top four. I love it.
To the Champions League. Okay, so
I love them so much. I can't even tell you how much I love them.
Quickly, let's talk relegation. So
this one's clear to me.
Okay, we'll go to this one. Okay, go ahead. So who's going to get relegated?
This one's super clear. Luton are going down. That team, They play in a stadium that's in your backyard. They have not signed any players. I don't even think they care if they go down. So Luton is one. The other one that's coming up, Sheffield United, I think is coming up. And I don't think they've made any transfers. And the player they did have, they sold. Last year was the anomaly that 3 teams stayed up. That almost never happens. So historically, 2 teams that come up usually go down. So that's what I'm going to go with. I'm going to go with those 2, Luton and Sheffield, because I don't think they're that strong. And then from the Premier League, I think the team that's going to stay up from that group, I think Burnley will stay up because I'm a believer in Vincent Kompany. This is really a vote for coaching.
So wait,
I'm in love with him.
3 teams go down, right?
Yep.
So where's the
I got
third?
one more.
Exactly. No,
The third one
beat
is,
around the bush, man. Tell us straight.
Oh, Bournemouth. Bournemouth are going down.
I can't believe it.
Because they changed their coach. Gary O'Neill kept them up. They changed their coach. They have a new owner. Their coach is an unproven Premier League manager. I think his name is Iriola. Used to play for NYCFC. I think he did a good job, more of an offensive-minded coach, or maybe like a defensive Spaniard. The thing is, they haven't really made any signings, and I don't trust a new coach in the Premier League to understand the wars you have to go through and the sort of swallowing of pride that you have to do to understand how to win in the Premier League. It's hell, especially in the bottom half of the league. It's time to go to war. Like it's not for pretty football. It's not like, oh, we're playing out from the back. It's like hoof it and punch someone in the face, please, or we're going to go down, right? And that's why, as much as I think Everton's terrible, Sean Dyche is never going down because he'll be like, we're going to kill people.
Well, I'm gonna put Luton there.
Yeah, Luton, I don't even know.
I think Nottingham Forest is going down too.
Oh, okay. See, I love Steve Cooper.
Yeah, no, but I don't do stuff out of love, man. I don't do stuff out of love. I'm critical, and I don't have friends. I don't make friends around this joint. I just straight up objectivity. You're friends with Brighton, and you don't think they're gonna.
Christian from the Squeaky Bum Time chat group lives in Nottingham and is a Forest fan. So we actually have a real connection to Forest. He actually posts himself watching goals go in, and it's really great.
I'm not afraid of tailing those guys off. So, but my third one, I'm going to make. See, we gotta be held accountable, but I think this is going to make it interesting. And I mean, you said
Bournemouth.
I can say that, and Sheffield. So I mean,
Sheffield United.
I do believe that it could. Let me just see one thing, man.
It could be. History says that if your team is drained year after year, the way Everton have, that Everton should be a team that's going to go down.
Well,
I just don't think that they're the.
That's what I'm looking. Yeah. That's what I'm looking at.
Yeah,
because they do everything possible to actually go down, but I don't know that Sheffield can just stay.
Yeah, exactly.
Dang it! But I want to make it interesting, so I'm gonna say, man, this is hard because I mean Everton deserves
super hard,
but
Everton deserve down. It's just that I don't think they're worse than 3.
Well, I'm going to put Everton in there because I want to make it interesting.
Okay, so you're saying that Sheffield United way up. And
well, one of them has to.
The People's Club. Huh? Yeah.
One of them has to stay.
Saying that Everton's Club that has been relegated in its history or 1950.
Man.
Go down. You heard it first.
Yeah. Well, I think.
Ooh, I have fun. I have fun news that's happened since we last made our one. And rejected at 30 million. And this is where turn the TikTok camera on, as they say in this podcast. MLS putting a bid together for Mbappé.
Oh no. That's not gonna happen yet.
They give him the whole league, basically. They're gonna give him a franchise. He's gonna own LA Galaxy. And be like, we're not gonna pay you to have the team. That's what the bid is.
Yeah, that's
basically what it's worth, right?
That's definitely not going to happen. And well, Wait a minute. One last thing. Who do you think? What as of right now? Obviously, well, we should probably wait until the last day to do who's the best transfer. But I already have it in my head, and I think right now it's Jude.
Oh no,
Bellingham.
what is it? Best transfer? Tell me.
I think Jude Bellingham. I think Jude Bellingham. I didn't think so.
Yes.
I didn't think so, but I mean, really, people has been moving. Now, most influential, I think, has been Messi to the MLS. But I think Jude has been just as far as quality, age,
he's so good,
and going to the type of club he's going to. I think he is.
So
he's been good. So, but that'll be up for debate. Go ahead.
I reserve judgment on who it'll be. I think it's going to be somebody we haven't thought about. It's going to be somebody from like Aston Villa. Some player is just going to come out because Emery's got something. I can't remember the transfers off the top of my head.
Well,
there's one guy that I can't.
Let me tell you this: the best transfer is not going to come from Aston Villa in the world. The best transfer in the world is not going to be Aston Villa.
Oh, in the world? No,
yeah. No, obviously. What do you think we're doing? Just Premier League? No.
Oh, sorry. I'm looking at a Premier League transfer list.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, let's start with our.
I think it'll be Kane to Bayern, and he'll score like 45 goals.
And that could be, but it's got to happen
because he's as good as Lewandowski at least.
Probably.
Anyway, we got to talk about the Women's World Cup.
Yeah, man. Let's talk about inside U.S. soccer, and obviously lack of goals definitely bounces the women's national
disaster.
team and of the World Cup first ever, earlier than ever. And this has just been a really, really tough, terrible year for the reality check, definitely for the U.S. the women's team. And to be honest with you, it started the match before, against Netherlands, and you saw Carly Lloyd talking about it on ESPN, and it was
the post that was against Portugal.
Oh, Portugal. I'm sorry. And I actually I tuned in the match, and I watched. Well, I watched the match, but I mean, I left because it was boring at the end, and then it came back, and it was over. I thought it was still going on, and then I saw them interacting with each other, and I thought, man, they won it in the last minute. And surely, I look at my phone, it was 0-0. So the lack of ambition and lack of leadership, really, because Megan Rapinoe, I know she's on the way out, and that's what she's looking at. That's what she's caring about. But when she's in the roster, I believe that she should have been a leader. I'm disappointed in Alex Morgan because she was out there laughing too. And a lot of the young players, I don't blame them because they just mimic everything else. So a lot of people just blasted on Trinity Rodman for not being who she was going to be before the World Cup, and she's still a young player. She's still a young player, and this is her first time, and she's got a lot of talent. More than likely, going to be the face of this team, definitely with my girl Horan, who is incredible, and but just no leadership, and definitely no play. Not the good coach, not the right coach. Also,
nope. You know what? I got a take here. You ready? Yeah. Alex Morgan is the most overrated American athlete that we have. And I think that if women's sports want to be treated the way that men's sports do, then we have to look at these players and really hammer them, right? Alex Morgan has never scored a goal in a big game in her life. She's supposed to be like she's supposed to be the legacy to Mia Hamm and Amy Wambach. She can't wash their boots, okay? Yes, she got called baby horse. Yes, she looks great when she runs with her flowing hair. You're not as good as they are, and you get treated like them. And I'll be glad to see the back of her. I liked her at first, too. She had one big World Cup where she scored 9 goals. 5 of them were against Thailand in one game. Otherwise, she hasn't done shit. And that's my take for you.
Well, the good part is that she looks good, so that's important. And
but I want to pour some out for Rapinoe. Rapinoe got a lot of shit for her political stuff, and that's fine. But maybe not this World Cup. She's washed up. She probably shouldn't have been on a team. Couldn't run up and down anymore. But for a period there was not a better crosser of a ball, men's, women's, or anything, than Megan Rapinoe. She would come down the wing, and it was on. She put those balls on Wambach's head.
Well,
there's a reason why Amy Wambach set the record for goals.
But that's the thing. Like, you can't live off the past, man. You can't.
No, that's why she shouldn't have been there.
You know, and she shouldn't have been there. I obviously don't see any leadership because some of these players go to these or get called up because okay, they're going to be the leader of the team. They're going to take care of the locker room. But you can't let all these people. You just tied a game against Portugal and barely made it to the second stage, and you're going to be laughing and hugging and jumping and doing it. That's lack of ambition, lack of leadership, and I expected the kids to do that and her to actually grab one of them and say, hey, let's go in the locker room. Let's go in the locker room. And then because they're going to what they say in front of the cameras is a bunch of crap, bunch of bull crap, men or women. So they went over there talking about, yeah, we don't like the way we play. No, that's not what you showed right after the game. You were content that you made it to the second stage. And it shouldn't have happened. And then what you say about Morgan, that's one hell of a take now. But but I mean,
why not?
If the proof is, but if time goes by and tournaments go by and you don't get it done, then it
listen. She's a 3-time World Cup champion. We're busting her chops, but like, it's just she gets treated as though she's one of the pantheon players, and she's not one of the pantheon players. That's really the take. You know, she's not the greatest striker. She's barely had even 10-goal seasons in the NWSL. She didn't play in the Champions League. Well, in Europe, maybe she had a little bit of time in with Lyon. It's really her place among that group, right? She's not Rapinoe. She's not Wambach. She's not Carrie Lloyd. She's not a killer the way they are. She's a level down, and she's the face of the franchise. And I think that's really what I think, you know, how Marta was at the end there, right? You know, how Marta would carry Brazil when she could, even though Brazil got knocked out. But Marta's 38, right? She only played, and she came off the bench and didn't even play. Like, you know, we just have to be clear about what happened with this team. It's a rot within U.S. soccer that people who I trust, who have their kids in youth soccer, who really care about this stuff and really follow it, have told me it's a level of the way we train, the way club soccer works in this country. You pay, and you pay so that your club wins. And at the youth level, winning should not be the most important thing. Lindsay Horan said it. Toby Heath said it. Kristen Press said it. She was like, yo, I came to Europe and I felt like I didn't know how to play. And that's really the issue, right? They don't, like, please watch Spain. Please watch Japan. These teams, even though the U.S. lost to a really negative Swedish team, to be fair, like, they're just gross. Those teams would have lit the U.S. up. We would not have had the ball because if you think about it, Trinity Rodman, or the other one, I can't remember the other one's name, she had a chance where she was free.
Yeah, I forgot it.
The touch she took was 5 feet away from her and went right to the goalkeeper, and she never got the shot off. Just some of the touches. Couldn't string 3 passes together. It seemed like unless Horan was on the ball carrying it, nothing was going to happen. Right? So it's just a level of talent and skill that's missing.
That's the main concern. You know, where they look at. We do have players. Go ahead.
But the flip side of it is, and this is one thing I don't want to kill people for tactics, or really accept who you are. Don't tell me about possession. Play it like that. Play it 4-4-2 and hoof it.
But they don't have the players for that.
Shit out of people on
they don't have the players for that.
Right.
The type of players that the U.S. women's team has is having the ball and taking care of it and actually attacking. You can't tell Trinity Rodman to hold the ball and just, you know, keep it.
But they could play it out. They could just hoof it and have Trinity run on it. She's fast.
Well, I mean, but they have to. They have to attack. I mean, you got Horan, who actually is the equilibrium of this team.
She can play,
and it can obviously pass. So I think we have a lot of talent, but we just have to have our priorities intact and get a good coach. We made the same mistake. U.S. Soccer made the same mistake with Berhalter, bringing back somebody that makes no sense.
That's a bum.
Technically, basically a bum. I like Klinsmann more than I like Berhalter, and you know, that's just a lot. And so. You know, we'll see what happens when it comes to that. Now, what do you think about?
So I do want to.
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry. I want to cover the rest of the game. So we have England got through versus Nigeria.
Yeah, that's good.
Very nervy. Nigeria were very, very good, and they represented themselves well. There was a red card in that game. Reece James's sister. I'm sorry, I can't remember her name. She literally stepped on purpose on a player, and I think that's good. Like, I don't mind it. Like, get the red, be aggressive. This is what happens. Like, you the red miss got you, fine, and they won on penalties. So England get through. They're doing well. The other one was the Jamaicans got through, I believe, on a 0-0. I want to make sure I have all everybody who's through. But I still think favorites here. Australia got through versus Denmark. Sam Kerr coming off the bench. That was a really loud crowd. Very, very exciting there. The Netherlands beat South Africa. Who's left? Jamaica plays Colombia. That should be an amazing game. That's coming up next. France, Morocco, and then Spain, Netherlands, Japan, Sweden. Those are the semifinals that have been already mapped out. But we still have round of 16, quarterfinal games: France, Morocco, Colombia versus Jamaica. But favorites have to be Japan at this point and Spain, in my view.
Now, Lionel Messi, man, he's been killing it. We've been talking about him, and he's been doing his thing. And of course, the last match. I mean, it almost feels like, we're not going to talk about this no more. We'll keep moving on. We're going to move on. But then the next match just makes it happen. And, just one of those players, again, we've said it before. It just touched to be the hero. And honestly, but it also makes you think, like, these guys either were tired of being in Europe, and they still have a lot of gas in their tank, or the level in the MLS is low that they can succeed.
They have room. They have space.
They can succeed. Or maybe a combination of both, or maybe also that they don't have a chip on their shoulder and they're just playing freely. But what do you think about people, critics, just taking down the MLS because of how good Messi is doing and everybody else is playing on this team, being the last team, and all of a sudden they're the best team in the MLS lately?
Listen. The last time Lionel Messi was at Barcelona, he was still a 25 goal scorer, right? He's not. I think the PSG experience was something that was forced on him. He never wanted to be at PSG. He never wanted to go there. The tears were real. He was uncomfortable, clearly, in France. The ultras didn't want him, and he was just about the World Cup last season. Ultras. He still had a 16-16 season in a defensive league. If you don't know that about France, it is, right? His last season at Barcelona, 33 years old, 30 goals. Like, the greatest player of all time, period. I'm sorry, Ronaldo. You are great, and you just happen to come at the wrong time. This is the greatest player of all time, okay? Double-digit goals and assists for 15 straight years, over 600-700 goals, just otherworldly. In MLS, what he can do is, because the intensity isn't there, because the defensive skill levels isn't there, and even within MLS, money is never, ever spent on defenders. Ever. The entire league, anytime a player is signed, it's for fame, it's for drive. No team spends designated player money on number sixes. No team signs designated player money on center backs. It simply doesn't happen, right? Maybe Rafa Marquez, maybe when he went to Red Bull, but barely. Put people in the seats. So you have Messi, the greatest offensive genius in the history of football, going against MLS and CONCACAF level defenders. He's going to eat them alive. He's going to find the space. They're not going to be close to him. These players are running towards the ball, running towards other players. He's literally free in the box. I'm like, my guy, that's Lionel Messi. Why are you going to the other guy? That's not Lionel Messi. Like, else is not Lionel Messi. Will you just mark him? If the other guy beats you, good. Don't let it be Messi. So what we saw at the Dallas game was just heroic MLS defending. Even though this was the League's Cup, these are not all these games that he's been playing have not affected the standings.
No, you're right.
Inter Miami, they may not, they still may not make the playoffs, but he's winning this weird cup that they made up so that MLS could play Mexican teams
and make some money off of it.
But he'll get to the final because they rigged it so that he's on that side, or things just played out that way.
Yeah.
So he may end up playing like, Atlas or Pumas or something. I don't know where I can find this.
Last but not least, let's talk about one U.S. national, and that's Serginho Dest. Apparently, he doesn't have any teams to play in Europe. He's been offered MLS, but Barcelona don't want him. AC Milan didn't work out, and he is American, a cold-blooded American. And
he's about American as I am French. That dude is Dutch, but that's okay. They found a way,
But it does have to do. I mean, we have to want him to do well. I mean, or else we're gonna be
or they just won't play him. They'll play someone else.
I don't know if I can trust what's his name. Let's play Inter Miami. Play forever in that position. It's play now actually.
Oh yeah. DeAndre Yedlin.
Yeah, DeAndre Yedlin. Which actually I like him. But regardless, just quick, man, your thoughts. What do you think can happen? Do you think him going to Al Ali? There's talks that could happen.
That's a mistake.
That's where Frank Kessie is going.
That's also a mistake on his part too. He's young. Why are those young guys going there? Here's the thing with Dest, right? He had at 18 years old played a big role at Ajax. Nice. And Barca were going through a youth movement, and they bought him to play fullback for a wingback style. And he played a full season at Barcelona in their shittiest seasons, finishing third, then finishing second, right? But and Xavi did not want him because he couldn't. And he didn't quite even have his head on a swivel. And he wasn't particularly good for the U.S. men's national team. This is a player who's not at that level. He needs to have game time. Still, remember, he's just 21.
Yeah.
So he needs to go to a team where he can play. I think you try and find a good offensive-minded coach. You go to someplace like Atalanta, where they plays this attacking, flowing football. You go to someplace like Napoli, where they play attacking, flowing football. You go to someplace like Sassuolo, who has an interesting way to play. You go to Malaga with Pellegrini, who has interesting ways to play. Where you try and find these sort of middle-level clubs that you can play and allow to develop the skills you need. Otherwise, just that's what they need to do, right? Like, don't get weird.
Yeah, don't go to Saudi Arabia. Okay. Well,
right. but he's on 115,000 a week, which is just
it's crazy. Well, these contracts are nuts. Anyways,
he went to Barca. Barca is insane.
Yeah, that is true. Anyways, that is it for this episode of the podcast. A little long, but we had to get all this information in. And anyways, thank you so much for listening. Don't forget to go to topfcnews.com for more information on the greatest sport in the world. And that is it, Laurent. Thank you so much. My name is Chris.
Thank you, Chris.
We'll see you next time.